Hello students, this is your week 3 review graphing and variables instruction video. Now the week 3 review is the very first assignment for week 3, and we're going to be touching on some vocabulary terms that you may or may not have seen in previous classes. And these terms and ideas are going to be tied to variables and experimenting, which include like independent variable and dependent variable, manipulated, and then responding are other terms you can use for those variables as well. Talking about constants, and then graphing, we're going to talk about the x-axis, y-axis, what type of graphs there are, why do we use them, all those pieces of information. And graphing is extremely important in science because it helps us create a model and a way of analyzing our data. And we will be using it very frequently. So it's important that you know the background pieces of graphing and variables, why they're important and how we use them before we actually get into graphing and looking at them in terms of experiments we do or experiments that are already done. So when you get to the week 3 review piece, which is again the first assignment in week 3, in order to get into this assignment, you're going to click on this title link, the week 3 review, graphing and variables. And that is going to open into a new tab. If it's the first time you're taking this blue button right here is going to say begin. However, since I'm going back into this for a previous attempt, I've already entered into it to look it over. I'm going to hit continue, but either way, you'll hit the blue button. When you get into this assignment, there are a few questions. There are 3 larger questions that have you learning and doing an online quiz. And then there's other questions that have you looking at bad graphs and what's missing. So for these top 3 questions that you're going to be doing, there are what we call a file response. And the reason why I need to talk to you about that is because the way you respond includes attaching a file. So when you do the first 3 pieces of this assignment, you're going to need to have a Word document open or some other file that you can use, and that so you can include your screenshot and your reflection piece. And you're going to use that Word document to upload and answer those individual parts of this assignment. So for question 1, just as an example, we're going to be learning about variables. It has the definitions to the 4 main vocabulary words we're going to need to know. There's also a video that you can watch in relation to motion. And I like this video because next week we're actually going to dive into vectors and forces and kinematics in week 5, which will include actual motion graphs and things like that. So you want to make sure you read the definitions and watch the video so you know exactly what to look for. And whenever you're ready, there's a quiz that you're going to complete that is 14 questions long. Now, the quiz itself, the website it's on, I can't embed these into the website. So it's going to be a website that will open in a new tab when you click on that link, and it's at Quia. Now, when you get here, you'll have a Start Now button, and this is again for the first quiz. And any subsequent quizzes that come after, if they're in this website, most of them will say Start Now, or you might have to type in your name before you hit Start Now. Either way, you're going to have to enter the quiz. Now, this quiz is 14 questions long. Again, read the example, answer to the best of your knowledge. Now, the thing you want to pay attention to is variables need to be a measurable piece of data. They need to be able to be measured. So when you look at this, make sure you look in terms of it being objective, meaning we can actually measure it, versus subjective, where it's something that we notice, but we can't actually collect data or numbers off of it. Now, when you get done with all 14 questions, you're going to get to an end screen that will tell you how many you got right and how many you got wrong. Now, mine, I ended before I finished it, so it's not going to give me that. But when you get to the end, it'll give you all the questions that you did. It'll tell you what you got right and what you got wrong, and then you can actually reference back to anything you did get wrong. And I want you to reflect on that. I want you to tell me, what did you get wrong? Why did you get it wrong? Was there something you missed? Did you just misread it? What was it? So with that first assignment, or this first quiz, you'll put all that information into a Word document. It tells you right here. And then when you get the Word document done, make sure you save it in your physics folder on your computer. And then you'll go to Browse My Computer here. And then, for example, I'm just going to attach a file. You'll figure out where your stuff is. You'll hit whatever file you're going to add, and it'll pull it up right here. Now, some students like to put all this information on just one file. That is entirely up to you. So you would simply attach the same file all the way through for the first 3. Question 2 is a vocabulary scatter where you match vocabulary terms. And here's all the terms that you'll need to know. There's a video talking about these terms. And then when you're ready, you would hit start game, and it does time you. Your time should be under 30 seconds. So you would simply match these terms together, and then if you get it right, they'll disappear. And again, the goal is to get under 30 seconds. When you do get under 30 seconds, you would take a screenshot, similar to the above question, and then you would have another reflection piece where you just tell me if there's any words that were review or words that were new. And again, that is a file attachment here. Then question 3 is the last bigger one where we're talking about types of graphs. So, and then also how to read these graphs. We're going to use a lot of graphs in physics, so it's extremely important that you know how to look at a graph and then how to read that graph. And that's going to be what question 3 is going to focus on. So there are 2 videos you can watch that tell you how to read different types of graphs. And then when you feel comfortable with that and you're ready, again, you have a link to a quiz. Again, that's going to open in a new tab just because of the nature of the website. This one does have you typing in your name. And then you'd hit start now with your name entered. And then you go through the quiz. And then similar to the first question, you're going to answer those. You're going to look at your results and then reflect on those results as well. Okay. So those are the big 3 questions. And then the very last few things that I have you do, you guys, are looking at bad graphs. So there's a video here on how to spot a misleading graph, what things to look for. You'll want to watch that before doing any of the other questions. And then the rest of them are just having you pull apart the graphs, telling me what's missing or what's wrong with them. And then there's just a couple of questions in relation to that. And again, those are short answer. So when you have all these done, you will hit save and submit, which is this blue button in the bottom right corner, and that's going to send it to me for grading. If you feel like you need to take a break and you don't want to finish this in one sitting, you can save your answers individually with the save answer button, depending on which ones you did. Or you can hit save all answers, and you can exit out of this and come back to it later. So just know that that is an option if you feel that you need a break while doing this assignment. Now, if you have any questions, make sure you email me or text me. Otherwise, when you're done with this assignment, you can go ahead and move on to the second assignment in week 3.